Hello, this is Dr. Gaurav Gupta, MD, your personal child specialist doctor. Whenever we move to a new city, one of the most important things that a parent wants to know is about their pediatrician. Nowadays, many parents will look at Google ratings on other apps like Just Dial and Practo, etc. But at the end of the day, it's your personal comfort with the pediatrician that matters. Is there any way to really come to know if your pediatrician is good? I would like to suggest one way that can be really useful across the board whenever you are trying to see if you have a competent pediatrician or not. Here is my tip. If you go repeatedly to your pediatrician for your child's illnesses, how many times does he actually end up prescribing an antibiotic? We believe that 80 to 90% of all fever and infections in kids are viral in nature. Hence, we should be using antibiotics in less than 10 to 20% of times when your child gets fever. Now, I would say that it may not be possible for an average pediatrician to pick up 80 to 90% of infections, but a good pediatrician should at the very least be able to pick up 50% of these infections that are viral. Therefore, here is my rule. If you go 10 times to your pediatrician with your child having fever, loose motions, cold and cough, etc., he or she should not be giving antibiotics more than 5 out of 10 times. If 50% of the times you are able to avoid antibiotics, you probably have a good pediatrician. So remember this, antibiotics don't kill viruses, they only kill bacteria. 80 to 90% of infections in children are viral. Therefore, your pediatrician should be using antibiotics as less as possible. If you are getting repeated prescriptions with medicines like Augmentin, Moxclav, AZ, Cefixime, Zifi, etc., then you probably need to look for a new doctor because there are many problems with using antibiotics repeatedly for your child. More of that in a later episode. This is Dr. Gaurav Gupta. Keep sharing, keep hearing, and let your comments roll in. Thank you. Hi, I have received a couple of very excellent observations from my fellow pediatricians who were kind enough to actually hear the podcast, and I'm adding this to the podcast itself. The first point raised by Dr. Shakuntala Lavasa, MD pediatrician, is that we need to show the child to a pediatrician. There is a tendency, especially in India, that we end up showing the child to a general practitioner or to the gynecologist who delivered the baby itself. Unfortunately, they may not be up to date as far as the latest recommendations regarding immunization are concerned, and they may not be able to offer the kind of advice a pediatrician is able to offer regarding the diet of a child, regarding the development of a child, etc. So please make sure that your child is seen by a pediatrician. The second point, very valid, raised by Dr. Bedi, MD Pediatrics, is that being a good pediatrician is not only about antibiotics, but also about a lot of other things. Some of them which I've already stated, like about how we vaccinate the baby, how comfortable the parents and the child is with the doctor, how we monitor the development, how we discuss preventive pediatrics with the child and their parents, etc. So obviously all these factors are important when you choose a pediatrician, but my point in the podcast was to highlight that there are easy ways in which you can get an idea whether your pediatrician is up to the job or not. Of course, just like anyone else, you need to have a holistic view and look at everything which your pediatrician does. As one of our professors always used to say, the success of a private practitioner depends on 4 things: A, B, C, and D. The A stands for availability, B stands for behavior, C stands for competence, and D stands for the kind of drugs that he uses. So your pediatrician should be available, should be competent, and should have a very good behavior with you and your child as well. Keep that in mind. Keep sharing, keep commenting, and keep coming back. Thank you.